Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our yoga class today. We are going to be talking about the 8 limbs of yoga. And in just our class today, we'll just touch on the first limb. But there are 8 limbs of yoga. And I know that most of us might just think of either the poses that we do. Maybe you can even think about breathing, the breath work that we do, but there's also meditation. And there's also other limbs of yoga, which kind of makes it all complete. So understanding the whole part of it, just maybe in even little bits and pieces, can maybe help to deepen your practice. So today we're going to talk about the first limb of yoga, and it's called Yama, Y-A-M-A, Yama. And what this first limb of yoga deals with is like ethical standards. So how do you show up, right? How are you showing up to the outside world? You know, how are you interacting with people on a daily basis? So that's sort of the first limb of yoga is Yama, and they list it as, you know, like non-violence. Let's say, like, how do you deal with confrontation of others? You know, are you dealing it with, you know, maybe verbally versus physically? Are you, you know, trying to keep, you know, violence out of your life? The other thing might be truthfulness. You know, how truthful are you being? You know, non-stealing and those kind of things. Just normal. I think, you know, overall kindness has to do with the yama, or that limb of yoga. Now, the poses that apply to this, the yama limb, or to this first limb, are downward dog, warrior two, and tree pose. So we'll be working through those poses today for this practice. And we'll also have poems or like little short quotes or stories that kind of go along with each one, just to give you a little bit better understanding about the poses and about yoga in general. So we're going to come to start on our backs first. Have your blocks handy, you know, nearby, so that you can reach them from your back. But just gently come down onto your back, make your way down onto your back. I have my blanket here using as a pillow, and I'm going to just lie all the way back, maybe letting my head or neck and shoulders rest on the blanket. You can let your legs open as wide as your mat. Your arms can come out to the sides. But let's try and keep this Shavasana pose, or this first initial pose, not about rest, but more about noticing, right? So what that means is maybe here lying on your back, you don't allow your toes to open. Instead, let the toes turn towards the sky. Imagine yourself as if you were standing, right? So your feet would be flexed, feeling as if your feet were on the floor. Your legs are going to be turned on and engaging. Noticing your hips and your shoulders on the mat, and just maybe feeling underneath your lower back, just noticing that there's a natural curve there. The arms can let themselves come out long, backs of the palms to the floor, or you can always turn your palms down if you're feeling a little too energized this morning. And then close your eyes. Take a deep, full breath in through the nose. Feel a little bit more longer in the legs and the spine. And then as you exhale, soften into the mat. You know, find stillness, but still being active in your body, feeling your muscles engage as you turn your leg muscles on, as you maybe feel the arms engage. As you take your next breath in, notice the expansion of your rib cage, how it gets a little bit wider with each inhale. And with each exhale, you gently press the breath out, maybe all the way, fully let the breath come out. Another deep breath in through the nose. Bring in the breath a little bit more, widen, thick, filling up the rib cage. Exhaling, softening just a little bit, but still keeping your spine long. And just think about our first limb of yoga, right? The Yama. You know, how do you show up to the rest of the world? And bring one hand to the heart and the other hand on top of that hand. So you're placing one hand on top of the other. Just notice your heart. Notice how you're feeling. Breathing in and out. And then place your hands into prayer and set an intention for your practice today. And maybe it's to put a little bit more kindness out into the world. Whatever your intentions are, allow the hands to reach towards the back of the mat, over the head, nice and long, reaching, maybe open, close the fists, point and flex the toes, rotating. And then keep your arms overhead if you can, and then walk both feet towards the left corner of your mat. So just gently towards the left corner. Cross your right foot over your left. Take a breath in. As you exhale, take your left hand and gently pull on your right wrist. Just side bend just a little bit to the left. Crescent shape on the right side of the body. Breathing, just be here for a moment. Just notice getting a little longer with each breath. And then with your next exhale, uncross the legs, walk them over to the right corner of your mat. And when you get there, cross the left ankle this time over the right. Just pause there for a moment, feel a little bit more length in the left side of the body as you inhale. And with your exhale, pull up on your right wrist and side bend to the right. So my left ankle is over my right, anchoring my right foot down. Crescent shape on the left side of the body as you pull your left wrist with your right hand. Side bending over to the right, breathing into the left side of the body. Just noticing and just being here, present for another moment. And then with your next exhale, slowly releasing, letting the arms float down the sides of the body. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. Give your right knee a hug. And then open your right knee into tree pose, placing the sole of the right foot to the left inner thigh. Your right hand can gently press the right knee open, or if you need a block under the right knee for a little bit more support, then take it. Your left leg is strong on the mat and your left foot is flexed. Now here you can either keep the arms down the sides of the body, you can bring your hands to heart center, or you can reach the arms again overhead, maybe reaching prayer overhead and then opening the arms out. Take a breath. Exhale it out. Notice the right knee as it softens a little bit more open. Notice if your left leg wants to lift off the mat and gently ground your left leg. Let your left foot be flexed. Take another breath. As you exhale, releasing the arms down, let the right hand guide the right knee back in towards the chest, and then take the knee across your body for a twist. So let the right leg move to the left, take your gaze to the right, reach your right arm long. Now use your left hand here on the right leg, pulling that leg a little bit more into the twist. Feel a little longer in the right side of the body by drawing the right hip away from you. And try and get both shoulders on the mat. With each exhale, feel the twist a little bit more. And then as you inhale, come back into center. Take the right leg up to the sky. Try and get the right foot to be flexed. And slowly, for a count of 5, lowering it down. For 5, keep your core engaged. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ground the right leg to the earth. Flex your right foot. Draw the left knee now in towards the chest. Take a breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Allow your left knee to open into tree. And place your left foot anywhere on the right inner leg, anywhere but the knee. Notice if you need a little bit more support under your left leg and place a block there if you need it. Otherwise, allow the left knee to open. Maybe the left hand even guides the left knee open. Be aware of your right leg, and if it's still grounding, if you're still flexing the right foot. Can you feel both hips on the mat? And if you can't, then place the block under the left thigh. Now, either hands can stay down the sides of the body. Bringing your hands into prayer is the next option. Or reaching the arms long and strong overhead, opening the fingers wide for tree pose here on your back. Keep your right leg grounded and active. Keep the muscles turned on as if you were on the floor. Reaching and growing this arms overhead as wide and as long as you can. Another breath in. As you exhale, the arms float down the sides of the body. You're guiding your left knee back in towards center. And then the left knee crosses the body for a twist. You can shift your hips here if you need a little shift. Take your gaze to the left, maybe left arm is long. Right hand can come to the left outer thigh and gently let it pull into the twist a little deeper. My right hand gently pulls. My left shoulder stays on the mat. You can keep your eyes open or closed. As you inhale, come back into center. Left leg straight up to the sky. Maybe flex the foot if you can. There can always be a bend in the knee. And for a count of 5, we're going to lower the leg down towards the mat. So for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Just let it release. Come back into the Shavasana pose that you started class with. Maybe noticing a little change. Take another breath in. Take another breath out. And slowly start to bend your knees and place your feet on the floor. We're going to do a little bit of core work now. So arms down the sides of the body and just lift the shins off the mat so that the legs, the shins are parallel to the mat and your knees are bent in 2 right angles. We're going to keep the arms down the sides of the body. Notice if your spine tries to lift off the mat, pulling your belly button down towards the mat. Make sure that the lower back is connected to the mat. And here we're going to just tap your right foot to the ground and then pull it back up. Tap your left foot to the ground and pull it back to neutral. Right and lift, left and lift. Keep on going. Engaging the lower core here. Try to keep the knees in line with the hips as you lift the knee back in. We have 5 more. 4 more. 3 more. Keep the belly button pulling its way down towards the spine. 2. And last 1. Place the feet on the floor, bend the knees, and take your hands behind the head. So maybe here if you have your blanket, you could just put your blanket right off to the side and take your hands behind your head and clasp your hands behind the head and let your head be cradled by the hands and feel supported. Elbows out to the sides, take a breath in. As you exhale, lift the shoulders up off of the mat and maybe you gaze right towards the ceiling or where the ceiling and the wall meet. And then lower the shoulders to the mat. Take a breath in. As you exhale, lift the shoulders off the mat, engage this time the upper core. Lowering down, take a breath. Exhale and lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. We have 3 more, lifting up. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Lowering the shoulders to the mat. Now seeing if we can combine the 2 of them. So let your shins lift off the mat. Let your shins be parallel to the mat. You can take your hands behind the head. If it's too much, then just place the arms down the side of the body, up to you. Take a breath here. As you exhale, lift the shoulders off the mat. With your inhale, lower the shoulders, tap the right toe down. Breath in, breath out, lift up, squeezing in, let the legs meet. Lower the shoulders, lower the left foot. Lifting up, pull it in, right toe down, shoulders to the mat. Pulling everything back into center, left toes down, lower the shoulders. Lift up and squeeze. We have one more each side, right toe down as the shoulders land. Lift up and squeeze. Left toes down, shoulders to the mat. Lift up and squeeze. Bring the knees into your chest. Rock side to side. Massage your lower back. Take your block and place the block between the inner thighs. Place the feet on the floor and prepare for a bridge pose. Walk the heels in close to the hips. Squeeze the block with the legs so it's at the inner thighs. Arms down the sides of the body. We're going to root down through the feet and start to lift your hips off of the mat. Squeeze the block. Make sure your feet are hip distance so they're in line with your hips. They're not out to the sides. Your toes are facing forward. One nice long line. Breathe into your belly and your hip flexors to stretch them out from our core work. Keep squeezing the block. Keep engaging your glute muscles. Another breath in. Another breath out. Lower the hips to the ground. Take your arms out to the sides or cactus arms. Bring the knees in towards the chest. We're going to take a twist here. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let the knees float to the right. Take your gaze to the left. And then squeeze everything back up into center. Breath in. As you exhale, let the legs float to the left. Gaze to the right. Bring your way back into center. Taking that block, removing the block, just placing it onto the floor. Let your left foot land and bring your right ankle onto your left thigh for figure 4. Press the right knee open. Flex your right foot. If you want to thread it through, you can reach through for the left hamstring. Clasp the left hamstring if you can or want to. Flexing both feet. Keep making sure that the right knee presses open. Release the left foot to the ground if you had it lifted. Right leg to the sky, and then bend the right knee. Place the right foot on the floor. Left ankle to the right thigh for figure 4. Pressing the left knee open. Maybe you want to thread it through. You can do that. Just breathe into the left hip, flexing your feet. Finding stillness here, noticing that if there's any tension in the left hip, just soften as best you can. And then releasing the hands and lowering the right foot if you had it lifted. Take your left leg up to the sky and release the left foot to the ground. So now let's take your blocks and lift your hips up and place your blocks underneath your sacrum. So not on your lower back, but place it right underneath your hip bones. And from here, tuck your shoulders just gently underneath you and take right leg up to the sky and then maybe left leg up to the sky. You can start to just point and flex the feet. Find this L shape with the body where the ankles, the knees, and the hips are in line. And then gently start to bend your right knee, bring the right knee to your chest, and lower the left leg towards the mat. And maybe the left leg touches the mat and maybe it doesn't. You can bring the right knee into the chest, and here even feel a little bit deeper of a stretch in the front of your left thigh, your hip flexor. So we spend a lot of time sitting and being in cars, and when this muscle or this hip flexor is tight, and it causes issues with other parts of the body, your back. So keeping those hip flexors nice and loose helps with our body. It helps in other parts. Now start to bend your left knee and then take both knees to the chest. Take both legs back up to the sky. And we're going to switch sides. So now the left knee comes to the chest. Your right leg starts to lower. You can stop wherever you want. The foot doesn't need to touch the ground if it can't. You can just hover it. Bring the left knee in a little closer and feel a little bit more of a stretch at your right hip flexor. And oftentimes, like I said, this area is always so tight, so short, that it causes other issues in your body. And slowly bend your right knee. Bring both knees to the chest. And then place both feet onto the floor. We're going to lift the hips, take the blocks, and remove them from underneath you. Lower your hips to the mat. Happy baby, bring the knees in, reaching for the feet, or just find the thighs. You can also just hook the arms underneath the thighs and pull the legs in. If you want to find happy baby, find the soles of the feet and just hands pull the feet down, feet press into the hands. You can rock side to side, massage your low back. Maybe here you take the soles of the feet to touch and press the knees wide. This is like a reclined or Supta Baddha Konasana pose. Knees are wide. And then we're going to bring the knees back into your chest, and we're going to make your way up to a seated pose. So maybe you're rolling up, maybe you're rolling to one side and pressing up. And when you get to sit, find your blanket, if you have one, and just sit up on your blanket in this L shape. So this is called Dandasana pose or staff pose. And you can find this pose by just sitting your hips on the blanket and letting your thighs come off of the edges of the blanket. So it allows your hips to turn a little bit more forward. Now my legs are going to be out in front. Take both arms up overhead, big breath in. As you exhale, releasing the hands to the outsides of the legs, pausing here and finding length in the chest. And as you exhale, slowly, maybe walking the fingers forward. As you fold in just a little bit, you can bend your knees if you want to. Think about pulling your heart forward towards the feet, as opposed to, do not think about bringing the nose to the shins. You want to think heart towards your feet, sits bones reach back. Just breathe here for a couple of breaths. Inhale, maybe lift and find your length. And exhale, fold in. Soften in the backs of the legs. So we stretch the front legs with the hip flexors. Now we get a little into the back of the leg. And gently start to lift the chest, taking the knees in, open the knees wide, soles of the feet touch. This is called Baddha Konasana. So before we were on our backs. Now here, soles of the feet touch, knees open wide, maybe flutter the knees. Hands on the ankles, lifting up, inhale. As you exhale, folding in, press the knees open wide. Soften as best you can. Inhale, just take a breath, lifting up. Exhale, folding in. And gently rising up. Now, we're going to bring the knees in and place the feet on the floor. So we're going to come into boat pose. So we're going to do it with the feet on the floor. You can have your blanket still be here. So with the feet on the floor, reach the arms out in front. Keep your torso nice and long. Let your heart lift. And then just lean back a little bit. And as the arms reach forward more, you can lean back more. Take a breath. Exhale it out. Another breath in. Another breath out. One more inhale. One more exhale. Just come back forward, keeping the knees bent. Maybe fold over the bent knees. And then come back upright. So I'm still having the feet on the floor, knees are bent. I'm going to peel my arm back now as I do a little twist in my boat pose. So arms reach forward and lean back a little bit. Now here, take your left arm and just see if you can peel your left arm back. Look back towards your left thumb, getting a little bit more core work. And then let the left arm sweep forward to meet the right. Keep on leaning back. Let's reach and peel back the right arm. Keep the left arm reaching. Let the arms reach in opposite direction. Engage your core. Very important to have strong core. Let the right hand meet the left. Roll forward, just fold into the legs, knees are bent. And then come back up to rise, keeping the knees bent. We're going to start to windshield wipe the legs from side to side. So the hands can come down the sides of the body, and just let the legs float to the right, open through center and through the left. Open through center to the right and left. Now we're going to allow the legs to just stay to the right this time. So I just need to adjust my blanket because I've been moving around a little bit. Now, my right leg is going to land, and I'm going to take my left heel towards my left hip. Okay, so I'm in sort of like a right angle with the right leg, and the left leg is bent so that the left heel comes towards my hips. Yeah, very good, good. Now take your right hand to the left thigh and your left hand behind you. Sit up nice and tall, breath in. As you exhale, twist and look over the left shoulder. Engage the core. Sit up nice and tall. Another breath in. Another breath out. And then with your next inhale, come back to center. Now this is going to be a modified pigeon pose. So we're going to turn to the right and fold over your right shin. And just gently let the right shin soften. Maybe you stay on the fingerprints or you come onto the forearms. Do your best to keep your left hip as down as possible. Another breath in. Another breath out. Walk the hands back up so you come to sit upright. Take your hands behind you, leaning back, releasing the left foot towards the floor, and wiper the legs side to side so we can do the other side. Now just let the legs land to the left, and you can turn so that your right heel is more closer to your right hip. Just switch and settle. Maybe the right left foot comes towards the left thigh. We're going to take our twist first, so the left hand comes to the right knee. Take a breath in. As you exhale, twist and look over the right shoulder. The right hand is behind me, supporting me. With each exhale, twist a little deeper. And then as you inhale, come back to center. And as you exhale, now turn towards the left shin. Fold over the left shin. Maybe walk the hands forward. Notice if your right hip is lifting, and there's going to be a small lift in the hip, but try and keep your left hip as down as much as possible. You can come to your forearms. You can stay on your fingerprints. Coming into this modified pigeon, helping us to open up our hips a little bit more, preparing us for our tree poses later and our warrior twos. And then walk the hands gently and slowly back into center. Let the hands come behind you and place both feet again on the floor. Now, lifting the hips up, we're going to have the hands be behind you. Just gently lift your hips up. Hands behind you. Stretch the shoulders. Breathe into your belly. And then lower the hips back down. Now, take your right leg long out in front and bring your left leg into a seated tree pose. So Jani Sirsasana pose, sole of the left foot to the right inner leg. You can anchor your left knee down a little bit and take your arms up overhead, breath in. As you exhale, turn to the right and fold over your right leg any amount. The fingers can land on either side of your right leg. Keep your right foot flexed and active. Right leg is grounded. You're turning just a little bit to the right to fold over the right leg. Take another breath in. Take another breath out. Soften just a little bit more. And then root down to rise up. Bring the left knee to the chest and take the left leg long. Bring the right knee in towards your chest. Open the right knee out into seated tree pose. Sole of the right foot anywhere on the left inner leg except the knee. Take both arms up overhead. Big breath in. Turning the torso to the left. Fold gently over the left leg. Your arms or fingers can land on either side of the left leg. Keep on turning your torso just a little bit to the left. Keep your left foot active, folding in. And again, the idea is not to get the nose to the shin, but to pull your heart towards your foot. Reach your sits bones back. Take another breath. Exhale it out, fold in, releasing whatever tension you might have. And as you inhale, we'll walk the hands back up. Take both legs out in front, just shake it out. And when you're ready, make your way to tabletop or to all fours. So if you require a blanket underneath the knees, then take your blanket and just place it on the mat. Place your knees and shins on the mat, hands onto the floor. If this is not comfortable for you, you can also place your hands on blocks, or you can come to stand and place your hands on the chair. So these are your options. Come into your cat and cow your way. But with each inhale, lower your belly. And with each exhale, tuck your chin round and let the tailbone tip down. Inhale, drop your belly, gazes up. Exhale, press, lift, and round. Inhale, drop the belly, gazes up. And exhale, press, lift, and round. One more. Inhale, drop the belly, gazes up. And exhale, press, lift, and round. Now, for those of you who are standing, we are going to come onto our stomachs for a cobra pose. So you can step your right foot back, your left foot back, and then come onto your belly your way. You can be on your blanket, that's okay. Lifting your right leg, reach your right leg a little bit longer. Reach your left leg, walk your leg long, and then press into the tops of both of your feet. Walk your hands a little bit more down the lower rib cage. Let your elbows and wrists be in line. Grip the mat with your fingerprints. As you inhale, pull yourself forward, lifting your chest. Draw the elbows in. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Pull yourself forward. At the same time, the legs reach you long back behind you. Take another breath. As you exhale, forehead to the ground. Come back into a child's pose. Let the arms reach long out in front. Let the sits bones draw back. Take a deep, full breath in. Take a deep, full breath out. When you're ready, come into your first downward facing dog. So you can move your blanket off to the side. Curl your toes, lifting your hips, and come into your downward dog. Pedal out your feet, bending the knees, alternating. Shake your head yes and no. Come up on the balls of both feet. Bend your knees deeply. Tip your tailbone to the sky like you do in your cow pose. Straightening the legs any amount, lowering the heels. Pulling your belly button in. Drawing the chest towards the thighs. Lift the armpits. Grip the mat with your hands. Hug your triceps underneath you. Take a deep, full breath here. Take a deep, full breath out. Downward facing dog. Close your eyes. Breathing here for about 5 breaths. Notice your body in this position. Notice how you feel in this inversion. Breathing. Always be on your chair if this is too much, with the hands on the chair. But try and be here in your downward facing dog just for a couple of breaths. If you need a break, you can always take child's pose. Another deep breath in. Another deep breath out. We have one more breath. Breathe it in. Sigh it out. Just crack open your eyes and gently start to walk 1 foot at a time towards the front of the mat. And we've been in an inversion, so pause here at the front of the mat, open the feet wide, bend your knees and grab opposite elbows, swaying side to side if you need it.
Release your fingers to the mat. Heel toe your feet in towards one another. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips, and with a flat back, come to rise. Slowly starting to reach both arms up overhead. Inhale, reach. As you exhale, float the arms down the sides of the body and come to mountain pose. Standing nice and tall, feeling your feet on the mat. Strong foundation from your feet to the legs, to the strength in your legs and the hips. Reaching long through the crown of the head, take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Closing your eyes. I'm going to read to you while you're here in your mountain pose about downward facing dog, or otherwise known as Adho Mukha Svanasana. Within my body, there's a city, nameless streets, dead-end alleys of pain and promises, a mapless atlas corned off by years and bones. The muscles pull, the tendons throb. My joints crack out the resistance. Places I've ached undetected for a quarter of a century send out their muted frequencies from an unfamiliar pose. Descending too quickly, I implode. Down here or even up there, breath is the most. Mind, body, belly, oxygen. Listen to the place you feel it the most, says the teacher. Head dangling from downward facing dog. A single light bulb on a simple cord. So once again, I go deeper to where the muscles pull, the tendons throb, the pain travels, and the clandestine escape and then retreats. In the halfway reach where breath raises another skyscraper, I've inspired to bring the earth up a little lighter between my toes. Take a full breath in, reach the arms, inhale. As you exhale, let the arms float down. Coming back into your downward dog, find some length, hands on the shins. As you exhale, bend the knees, plant your palms, and step back to downward facing dog. Take a deep, full breath here. Take a deep, full breath out. Finding your downward dog. Closing your eyes here for a moment. Feeling the pose. Finding this triangular shape in the body. Hips are high. Hands and feet touching the mat. Take another breath in. Take another breath out. Start to look up and walk your way back towards the front of the mat. When you get there, bring your hands to the shins, find your length, and then fold your way down. Root down on the feet, rise up, lift the chest, bring your arms, reach up, inhale. And exhale, mountain pose. Take a breath. Let that go. Inhale, reach your arms. Exhale, fold to the mat. Find your blocks and just set them up on the highest level. We're going to bend the knees and step back with your left foot. Now bring the blocks to surround your right foot. My left foot is back, right foot is forward, coming into lunge. Take a deep breath here. Now as you exhale, place the blocks down on the lowest level and place your hands on the blocks. From here, step back into downward dog with the hands on the blocks. And just notice if maybe this feels a little bit more spacious for you. Maybe you feel a little better in this downward dog with the hands elevated. Take a breath, inhale, and exhale. Make your way back towards the front of the mat, walking 1 foot at a time. You can raise the blocks up to the highest level, find your length, inhale, and exhale, fold. With your next breath, lift up, find your length. As you exhale, step the right foot back this time and find your lunge. Slide the blocks down so that they surround the front left foot. Make sure your left ankle and knee are in line. Let your heart pull forward, let the left hip draw back. Take a breath, inhale. As you exhale, place the blocks at the lowest level and let your hands come to the blocks. Step back into downward facing dog and pause. Take a breath here, inhale. Take a breath out and exhale. With your next inhale, start to look up and make your way back forward towards the front of the mat. Place your blocks on the highest level. Find your length. As you exhale, fold. Root down on the feet, rise up, lift the arms. Mountain pose, hands to the heart, release the arms. Inhale and exhale. With your next breath, bring the arms up overhead and reach. As you exhale, let the hands float down to the blocks. Pause here, take a breath. As you exhale, step back with your left foot. Bring the blocks with you. Pause here. Now, this time, can you stay here in your lunge and lift your left arm straight out in front? Reach it towards the front of the mat. Find some balance. Stay up high in the ball of your back foot. Release the left hand to the block. Let your right hand become light. Reach the right arm forward. And then release the right hand to the block. From here, place the blocks on the lowest level. Hands on the blocks, downward facing dog. If you can, shift towards plank pose just for a moment, taking your breath. As you exhale, come back into downward facing dog. Inhale. And as you exhale, walk your way towards the front of the mat. Now bring your blocks up onto the highest level and find your breath. As you exhale, fold. With your next inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, step back with your right foot this time. Slide the blocks a little bit more towards surrounding your left foot. Finding your balance, make sure your feet are hip distance apart. Can you lift your right hand off of the right block and reach the right arm forward? Finding length, reach the right arm long out in front, draw your right heel back. Releasing the right hand to the block, can you bring your left arm straight out, reaching it long? Keep drawing your left hip back as the left arm reaches in front. Left hand comes back down onto the block. Lower the blocks to the lowest level. Hands on the blocks, step to downward facing dog. Take a breath. Let that breath go. If you can, shift in towards plank pose. Find your plank nice and strong. Shoulders, elbows, wrists in line. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Take a full breath out. Walk your way forward towards the front of the mat. Bringing your blocks up on the highest level, finding your length, inhale. And exhale, fold. Root down to rise up, take the arms, lifting the chest, arms reach up. And as you exhale, mountain pose. Pause here now. Notice and feel. Take another breath in. Take a full breath out. Close your eyes. We're going to be just talking for a moment about Warrior 2. Keep on breathing in and out through the nose. Warrior 2. Accept willfulness. Some lean too far into the past. Others stretch way too far into the future. The true warrior stays in the moment, burning deeper into whatever comes, or sometimes with what doesn't. Take a breath and exhale it out. Bring both arms up overhead, inhale. And as you exhale, let the hands float down to the blocks. Now pause here. We're going to step back with your left foot. Just as we did before, find your lunge. But now let's pivot and plant your left foot. Now looking down at your feet, notice your right ankle and your left heel are in line. Start to bring the blocks maybe gently a little bit farther back so they surround your right foot. Now, if you can, bring your right forearm to your right thigh and take your left hand to your hip. Now, take a breath in. And as you exhale, let's twist and look a little bit over your left shoulder. So this is extended side angle. Good. Now root down through the feet and lift the chest and come to Warrior 2. Shift your feet for a moment. Just find your space. Find the proper distance of your legs. Take a big breath in. Take a full breath out. Sink a little deeper into your Warrior 2. Reach the arms long. Squeezing the muscles in towards the bones. Feel strong in the legs. Reach long with the arms. Gaze over the right fingers. Take another breath. Exhale it out. Make your way down towards the blocks. Lift your back heel. And from here, we're just going to step forward and let your feet meet, folding in. Rooting down on the feet, rise up, lift the chest, reach your arms. As you exhale, start to float the arms back down to the blocks. We're going to step back with your right foot, nice and long. Find your lunge. And then when you're ready, pivot and plant your right foot. Looking down, your left heel should be in line with your right heel. Now from here, we're going to take your left forearm to your thigh and your right hand to your hip. As you inhale, open the right shoulder and look over the right shoulder towards the ceiling. Keep pressing your left knee open. Then root down through the feet, lift the chest, rise up into your warrior two. Maybe shift your feet a little bit to a wider stance. Start to sink your hips, right toes slightly turned in, pressing deeply through the right outer heel. Find your warrior two. Nice and strong legs, breathing in through the chest, exhaling, keeping the arms long. Another breath in, another breath out. Strong warrior two. Sink a little deeper into the legs. Find the strength you have in this pose. Feeling strong, feeling brave. Take another breath. As you exhale, cartwheel the hands down towards your blocks. Come up on the ball of your back foot. Step forward and let your feet meet and fold. Rooting down on the feet, rise up. Bring the arms up, reach. As you exhale, hands to the heart, back to mountain pose. Resetting, starting again, closing the eyes, noticing and feeling. Moving into our tree pose soon, which is called Vrikshasana. Breathing in and out through the nose, standing tall. Tree. To stand straight and tall. To do it on one leg. God knew what she was doing when she made us bipedal. We spend most of the time hunched over, denying the true weight of the gift we've been given. Now the trunk aches as it tries to expand to full height, buried as it's been in the bone. Gain and loss, victory and defeat, fame and shame, body and mind, mind and soul. The tree grows green against the blue sky, drawing the sun's rays through the slattered shutters of the ribs. We are the roots, we are the forest, and the trees. Here there is only one trunk. On it rests the world. Take a deep breath in and take a full breath out. As you inhale, take the arms overhead and reach. And as you exhale, hands to the heart. We're going to come into tray pose. So rooting down through the left leg, we're going to draw the right knee in towards the chest. So bring the right knee in. Here you can also hold on to a wall or your chair. You can bring the right knee into the chest and find some balance. Now take your right leg into tree pose where you can. You can also lower the right foot to the ground, open the right knee out to the side, and connect your right heel to your left inner shin. You can bring it also up to the shin, pressing the right foot into the left shin, or bringing it all the way up for your full tree pose in the inner thigh. Wherever you are, press the foot into the leg and the leg into the foot. Maybe here you start first with the hand, right forearm onto the right thigh, left hand to the hip. And maybe you bring your hands to heart center. And then maybe like you did on your back, you can reach the arms overhead and grow long. Always okay to hold on to something. Bringing everything back into center. Right knee into the midline, releasing your right foot to the ground. Shift the weight to the right leg and draw your left knee into the chest. And if this is too much, come to the ball of your left foot. You don't even need to bring it in as much. You can draw it in. Always good to get a little balance. Pull with the hands, press with the shin. And then when you're ready, come into your tree pose. So maybe your left foot lands, you stand the ball of the foot, open the left knee out to the side, make a connection with your left heel and your right lower shin. Now here you can bring it higher if you want, or all the way up if that's where it is you are in your practice. And then place your left forearm on your left shin, left thigh, and your right hand to your hip. When you're ready, hands to the heart. Even then, reach the arms if you want, growing long. Reaching, breathing, balancing. Beautiful, everyone. Hands to the heart, left knee back into center, and release the left leg. And just shake out your legs. Okay, so from here, we're just gonna fold forward, taking a breath and folding in. You can place your blocks off to the sides. Just step, just from here, bend your knees and come to sit your way. Legs out in front as we started earlier in practice, finding your sits bones, both arms up and reach. Exhale, folding in. Finding your length, inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Starting to rise up, reach your arms out in front. Using your core, we engaged it earlier, we're gonna roll back down onto the back. So tuck your chin, reach the arms long, rolling back. When you get there, bend into the knees. Coming into bridge pose again, we're gonna use the arms this time with it. So if you want your block, grab your block. You don't need it if you don't want to have it. But we're gonna start to breath in and lift the hips. Maybe this time you reach the arms overhead. As you exhale, lower the hips, lower the arms. Inhale, lift the hips, lift the arms, reaching long. Exhale, lowering, softening. We have one more. Inhale, lifting the hips, reach the arms. And exhale, lowering down. Let your knees knock in. Let your feet be wide. One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. And then like we did when we were seated, just windshield wipe your legs from side to side. And you'll feel differently in these movements, in these poses, you know, whether you're seated, whether you're lying down, feels different. Let the legs float to the right, maybe take the arms overhead. Take your gaze to the left. If you want a little bit more, you can place your right ankle on your left outer thigh, just a little bit more. Stretch. And then we'll release that side, bringing the knees through center and over to the left. Pausing, take your gaze to the right. Maybe you're placing your left ankle on your right outer thigh. Pressing down and away. Breathing into the twist. Releasing the foot if you had it on the thigh. Coming back into center. One knee at a time, bringing the legs in. Massage your lower back. Rock side to side. Take both legs straight up to the sky, just as we did before. Maybe flex the feet, arms down the sides of the body. And we're getting ready to lower the legs for a count of 10. So you can do one at a time if you want, or you can try doing both at the same time. Take a breath in. As you exhale, lowering down, pulling your belly button down towards your spine, towards the earth for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. When you get to the mat, Releasing, letting your legs come wide, letting the arms come out the sides of the body. Take a deep, full breath in. Take a deep, full breath out. And notice Shavasana pose here at the end of our practice, noticing your body in this shape now, allowing your body to rest and relax as opposed to being more engaged like we were earlier. Closing your eyes, softening where you can, breathing slowly in and out through the nose. Find stillness. Find peace. Take a deep breath in and out. And just be aware of my voice. I'm going to read you something from a book called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Number 37. Choose being kind over being right. You are given many opportunities to choose between being kind and being right. You have chances to point out someone their mistakes, things they could have or should have done differently, ways they can improve. You have chances to correct people, privately as well as in front of others. What all these opportunities amount to are chances to make someone else feel bad and yourself feel bad in the process. Without getting into psychoanalytical about it, the reasons are tempted to put others down, correct them, or show them how we're right and they're wrong, is that our ego mistakenly believes that if we point out how someone else is wrong, we must be right, and therefore we feel better. In actuality, however, if you pay attention to the way you feel after you put someone down, you'll notice that you feel worse than before you put them down. Your heart, the compassionate part of you, knows that it is impossible to feel better at the expense of someone else. Luckily, the opposite is true. When your goal is to build people up, to make them feel better, to share in their joy, you too reap the rewards of their positive feelings. The next time you have the chance to correct someone, even if their facts are a little off, resist the temptation. Instead, ask yourself, what do I really want out of this interaction? Chances are what you want is a peaceful interaction where all parties leave feeling good. Each time you resist being right and instead choose kindness, you'll notice a peaceful feeling within. Recently, my wife and I were discussing a business idea that turned out really well. I was talking about my idea, clearly taking credit for our success. Chris, in her usual loving manner, allowed me to have the glory. Later that day, I remembered that the idea was actually her idea, not mine. When I called her to apologize, it was obvious to me that she cared more for my joy than she did her own need to take credit. She said that she enjoys seeing me happy, and that doesn't matter whose idea it was anyway. Don't confuse this strategy with being a wimp or not standing up for what you believe in. I'm not suggesting that it's not okay for you to be right, only that if you insist on being right, there is often a price to pay, your inner peace. In order to be a person filled with equanimity, you must choose kindness over being right most of the time. The best place to start is with the next person you speak to. Take a deep, full breath in. Take a deep, full breath out. Start to make little movements with your body, wiggling your fingers and toes. Start moving your head from side to side. Bringing the arms overhead, full body stretch, reaching up. As you exhale, bring the knees towards your chest, roll to one side. Pausing here in your fetal position, take a breath. Exhale it out. With your next inhale, start to press your hands into the mat.
As you exhale, come on up to a comfortable seated pose. Maybe your eyes are closed and your head is heavy. Take your hands to the thighs, gently pressing down on the thighs. Walk the hands to the kneecaps. As you inhale, lifting your heart. As you exhale, bend the elbows, bring your hands to heart center, thumbs to the chest. Take a deep, full breath in. Take a deep, full breath out. Joining our voices in the sound of Om, inhale. Om. Bowing your head to heart with so much gratitude. Thumbs to the third eye. Namaste. Thank you everyone for joining today.